Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this special year-end edition of the CB vlog. If you're loving the show, go ahead, hit subscribe, and if you want, go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/commandersbrew. But let's get right to this year's topic. It's the end of the year.
Yeah, what are we talking about this time? We're talking about Commander New Year's resolutions. And, you know, we say New Year's resolutions because that's the time of year we're recording this, but these are applicable any time of the year, I think. It's never a bad time to, like, make some changes, make some improvements, you know, make things better. So let's talk about some. Some of these are, like, deck-related, play-related, that sort of thing. I want to start with a personal one. My New Year's resolution is to go through some decks and add in more graveyard hate. I don't think our meta runs nearly enough graveyard hate.
Yeah, that's something, and I think a lot of people might relate to this. Maybe not even specifically just about graveyard hate, but just about a lot of the stuff, a lot of the eating your veggies type thing, right?
Yeah, eat more vegetables. That's health. A lot of people talking about health. Yeah.
That was there's an EDH Rec podcast episode very recently about eating your commander veggies, and that's you do have to include some things like that, and like it doesn't seem maybe like it's, you know, it doesn't seem the most fun, but graveyard hate especially, you gotta have it in there, right? You gotta have it in there.
Yeah, especially recently, they gave us a lot of great new tools recently. So, like, there's no excuse. There's a lot of colorless. There's a land. There's artifacts. There's no excuse.
No excuse. You got to have it. And like, I understand maybe not running the stuff that all time hoses every single graveyard for the rest of the game type stuff. Like, that stuff's expensive anyways. You know, your what's that white enchantment again?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, that can actually. I remember playing that against a graveyard deck, and I felt bad because it's just like, well, I can't do anything until I draw my enchantment removal. It's like, oh, well. But speaking of such things, also including more mass enchantment removal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
We all run Vendelblast. Everyone has mass artifact removal, but, like, I don't have many decks, if any, with mass enchantment removal. I mean, unless you count something like, you know, like, what's his name? That creature that destroys all artifacts and enchantments.
Oh, Bane of Progress.
Bane of Progress. Like I'm not counting that. I'm talking
Right.
about, like, one of those instants that just, like, destroys all enchantments, period.
Yeah, and we talked about this on a previous CB vlog actually about removal. I think those are going up in value recently, just because there's more enchantments, there's more powerful enchantments. So yeah, it's a good idea, especially with those, you know, the 2018 decks. You know, those what's it called, the Estrid decks. If you're facing off against one of those, a mass enchantment removal can really be a big game swing.
Like an artifact deck, right? Like there's like a mass artifact removal kills entire decks, mass graveyard hate kills entire decks. It's just something that you should have.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can kind of lump both of these resolutions in together as kind of like we're gonna do the things that we should be doing. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna eat our vegetables.
Yeah.
We're gonna be more disciplined when it comes to deck building.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and the thing is the reason for that is so that you'll get to do all the fun stuff you want to do, right? Like,
right.
Some person just runs over you with their graveyard deck, then you're never going to get to do the other fun stuff in your deck. So you want to get to that.
Yeah. Another resolution I have, I think this is a good one. I'm going to urge all of us to kind of take a look at this at the end of the year. This is sort of more of an end of year one, I guess, contradictory to what I said earlier. But what if we just gave everyone a fresh start? And what I mean by that is, like, let's let go of, like, old assumptions about players and stuff like that. If we're holding any grudges about stuff, if we're, like, mad about something that happened like 5 games ago or whatever, let's take this time to just wipe the slate. Let's give everyone a fresh start and just be like, you know, maybe they've learned something, and maybe, you know, these things that became issues won't happen again. And maybe they will, and if they do, it's like, okay, if you want to start that fire again, I'll keep it going. but let's give people a chance to get out from under reputations they don't deserve, or things like that,
or things that they want to change, right? Like, it's possible for people that maybe they got off on the wrong foot somehow with a deck or with a person in a play group or something, and now they are looking for a way to change that. So, like, why not give them the opportunity? And it's not only I was thinking about this because it's in the notes I was looking at it, but, like, it's not only about like a person in a play group necessarily who like, you know what, they play this way, maybe they want to change, or maybe they, you know, we should give them another shot. It's also about like, you know what, why don't we just decide this as a play group, like that, like, oh, we know we've got these things that we always happen, we always attack this deck first, and like we always do this. But as a play group, if we all decided to sort of, all right, you know what, I'm going to give everyone the opportunity of a fresh start. If it's, you know, if things change and go back to normal like they were before, that's fine too. But at least it gives someone the opportunity, and they might see that as like a, oh, maybe I'll take this deck and like actually power it down because it is too powerful. It does get attacked first every time. Or I'm going to be like, oh, I'm finally able to get out from under that one backstab I did like earlier in the year.
Yeah, or like maybe like this, maybe my Xur deck, which is truly not the combo broken Xur deck, maybe like let's let that person have that non-combo Xur deck until they show us otherwise.
Yeah, this is specifically, I think, also a thing for like metas, like your rather play groups actually. It's like where you kind of know everyone. It's obviously going to be hard to give everyone this benefit of the doubt when you're walking into a store and you don't know anyone. You're kind of always doing that, right? Like if you're playing with new players all the time, but it's, I like this idea. I think this is a fun idea, and I'll definitely be doing this going in. And actually, it works both ways too. Like I'm thinking about newer players who you kind of might go, oh well, like I know these guys. I know this guy's new. I know he's like got this new deck, or he's got some. You know, he's just kind of maybe even new to the game. He's starting to creep up and starting to do better and better. It's like, well, now I'm just going to remove that whole like he's a new player like label that I have in my head about him, and like I'm always keeping him alive till the end because I think his deck is underpowered or something. Now I'm just going to treat him like every other player at the table, and if he gets off to a good start, I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to go after him, right? And I think actually that's a good thing, because treating newer players, once they've, you know, they've had a couple games under their belt and they understand the format and deck building and all that a bit more, it feels good to them to be treated like the more experienced players. Like that's a good thing. And if you take them out, that's a compliment. Always take it as a compliment if you got taken out early, right? If people have to come at you, that means you're doing something right. That means your deck's going.
And I think the side bonus from taking this approach, from giving people a fresh start, is it means that you're like letting go of old assumptions. And that's just there's a line between being like clouded by old assumptions and not paying attention to what's going on right now versus like just, you know, collecting data and patterns. But sometimes we can hold on to these old assumptions and just like it's clouding our judgment, and we're not thinking straight because we're just assuming things are the way they've always been. This is a good chance for us to just kind of check that as well, our thinking, and just think a bit clearer.
That's great. I think it's a solid thing that, yeah, doing it as frequently as once a year is a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this one? Here's a resolution that I have. Actually update old decks, or if we're not playing them, take them apart.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a drastic thing, taking a deck apart if you're not playing it, but it can be empowering. I've done this in the past, and I think we've all done this in the past, but when you take a deck that you know you're not playing because you just don't bring it out much, maybe it's a very powerful deck, or maybe it's a deck that's not working. Either way, when you take a deck apart, you're like, oh, look at all these pieces. There's now all these pieces, and I can use these for different things now. And it actually can inspire new decks and brews, and that's a fun thing. And then, but should I talk about like actually updating old decks? Because I've actually done this very recently. I actually updated a bunch of my old decks.
Yeah, I mean, we can tie this back to adding more graveyard hate and those sort of things. But like, man, like I've got old decks that I'm just like, geez, like the newest card in here is like Battle for Zendikar or something like that. I'm just like, I gotta update this deck. Yeah, and just like, because there's a certain point you have enough decks, you don't play them that often. And you're just like, oh, I haven't played this one in a while, so I'm not going to update one I'm not currently playing. But I think and then by going back, so I've started looking at them. Step one of updating is actually cataloging. So for this process for me, I'm actually recording what's in decks. So now going through that and looking through it, like you said, is like, oh man, I forgot that this deck was really fun because I haven't played it in 3 years. So it's like, oh, that's really cool.
Sean, what's the deck that you have the longest between updates, like the oldest deck that you haven't updated? Do you know what I mean?
I think that I recently did a bit of a purge. So I like my oldest one has now been taken apart. But I think now the oldest is probably Yidris. When when Yidris came out, I like tuned that one up a little bit, and I haven't touched it since.
So that would be, wow, that's what, 2016 Commander decks?
I think so.
The 4-color decks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. Oh wow, that's cool. I can't remember mine. I did a digital like cataloging of my whole collection like a bunch of years ago because I was like, well, I might as well do it now while it's like, manageable. Before later it's just going to get bigger. So I did it, and it actually makes it pretty easy for me to do that. So I'm actually pretty good at updating old decks when new sets come out. I always keep it in my head like when new cards come out what decks they'd be good in. One thing I'm not that great at though is I haven't brewed a new deck in I think over a year at this point.
Ooh, I mean, except for the ones we do for the show.
Obviously we brew new decks every week for the show, but like I haven't actually built one in real life, a new deck, for a very long time. And I'm going to do that. That is one resolution that I have, is to add a new deck to the collection.
Oh, nice.
We're
not going to spoil what that is, but we'll talk about that later. Perhaps. Yeah. And this ties into this next one too. I want to organize the dang collection.
Ooh. Yeah, okay, so there's two things here, right? I think this affects us both the same on one level and then differently on the other level. So for me, this means physically organizing the dang collection. Like
that's what I mean.
I actually, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff. I got all my cards in deck box. I got my up-to-date decks in deck box. I'm surprisingly good at organizing that, and I'm not a very well organized person, which you can see if you look at my office right now. It's a mess. But and specifically, my Magic cards are in this like wicked like chest box thing that my wife got for me, but it's a mess in there, and I need to physically organize that collection, and I'm gonna do it this year. This is the year that it happens. Hopefully, you can do it. I might even do it today if I have enough time, because it's just like, what else do you do on New Year's Eve, right? Like nothing.
I got one of those Stanley toolboxes that everyone uses for Commander, with like the 10 little compartments that are all kind of Commander deck sized. And my goal is to get that. We should probably do a full discussion about it. I can't go into all the details, but I want to get to like the next level of staple binder. Whereas, so where I want to have it, so like my goal is to, I can't get into it. It's just too much. There's too much. I don't know where to start. But so like we said earlier, I've got old decks that I don't update often, that I don't play often. But I want to get to the point where I just have the tiniest skeletons of decks, where I'm just like, oh, this is the skeleton of my Animar deck, right? And I'll be like, okay, I need the lands. Cool, I'll go to my Stanley and be like, okay, here's the Teamer lands. Here's my mana rocks. Here's any specialty ones. And then it's like, oh, do I feel like I need more enchantment removal? Cool. I'll just put more of those in. I'll put more and you just kind of and then when you're done, you put it away. So like no deck is ever old. No deck is ever new. The decks are fluid. They're changing all the time. But that skeleton is where you make the changes, right?
That seems like a lot of work every time you want to play, though. Like that's a lot of taking apart and putting together every time, isn't it?
But, and here's my logic. I'm basically playing the same 4 decks anyway. So if I leave the 4 decks as is, that's fine. That's the same as not changing them. But if I want to change 1 out of the 4, I can do 1 out of the 4. I don't have to change all 4 at any given time. But it's like I always have 4 up and running. And then it's just a matter of just like, I can just, as I'm like, oh, I'm kind of bored of this one. And then I'll make a different one, and then that'll go in. And then, but you don't get bored because you're like, oh, I'm just going to change some of the makeup of what's in this.
And you're talking about doing this not while you're sitting at the table about to play. You're talking about doing this at your home before Magic Night, right?
Yes. I'm going to have like a Sunday afternoon open. I'm just going to like be like, oh, I'm going to update one of the decks, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We're talking about finding time to do all these things, and that's so hard. It's like, you're gonna put that on your regular schedule of, I need to update, like if I want to change, I gotta do all this stuff. Like, it's interesting. I'd like to see it happen. I think it's a cool idea.
Oh, you will see it.
All right, great. What's next on the list here? Okay, so one thing, we talked about this in the summer We've had a sort of a general like hazy goal of it, but we are in the like throes of putting together a Commander cube. And I think this year, as a team, as a play group, you and myself obviously, and the other guys in our play group, your butlers, your geese, all these guys, we want to get a Commander cube going because we did it in Vegas. Johnny Crass, who's listened to the show, him and his group, they have an amazing Commander cube, and we've said it a lot, but I'll say it again. It was an amazing experience. It combines all the things I love about Magic. Sean, I know for you too, it's the same thing. Drafting, deck building, like Commander deck building, and getting to also play like a different deck. Like when you draft the commanders for it, you might pick something you don't usually play, and for that night, you do get to play that deck. Yeah, and it's so fun. You get to play with cards you don't normally have. You might have a couple expensive ones in there that you don't run in decks, but it's in the cube, so it's available to you. It's like.
And it's always surprises because it's like, if your opponent whips out Carador, you're like, oh, but this is not the Carador you expect, right?
Yeah.
Because they had to draft it. So
exactly.
There's going to be wild cards in there that you're like, I don't know what to expect.
And it's not necessarily the most tuned up version of these decks too, so it's not
it can't be.
Right? Exactly. So like it's a great Commander experience, and if you have the time and resources, maybe amongst a group like we're doing, I'd highly recommend at least trying to get this together like we're doing. Like we've got a list. People are contributing. This year is the year we're going to do it, though. 2019 is going to be the Commander Cube, and we'll get our boy Johnny Crass on here to talk about it because it's so.
We
good.
would love to. And just to wrap things up, we're coming to the end of our resolution list here. One just simple one. I just want to play more Commander.
Yeah.
Right.
Always.
It's so
right?
easy. It's so easy to get caught up with like work and stuff, and it truly is a thing. Like if you can make anything in your life a priority if you want to. And I just haven't really been prioritizing that. And it's not just about playing Commander. It's about, seeing my pals and like going on a regular basis. And like sometimes we don't have enough people for a Commander night and it falls apart. But I'm going to try to campaign to be like, okay, so if we're not going to play Commander night, what if we just whip out a regular board game? And if it's just 2 or 3 of us, we can just chat, have a couple beverages or something. Yeah.
Why not? Like come over and let's play on Arena or something. Like let's
not?
Like getting together is I think the key here. And like you said, even if it's only 2 or 3 and like that's not enough for Commander, why don't we still get together? Why not? Like especially when you've put the time aside. There's nothing more disappointing, and I know for me too, it's like I work at nights, so I'll sometimes specifically book off like our day for Magic, but sometimes I can't afford to do that, right? Like if they need me to work, I got to work, right? So it's spotty whether or not I'm going to make it. And then the night was like, oh, sweet, I'm not working. I can make tonight. It's great. And then you get on the thread, and then it's only like 2 of us or 3 of us that can do it. And it's like, this was my one night. We could be playing Commander. It sucks, but you know what? We got the time. Let's hang out. Let's do something. So yeah, I think that's a great resolution.
Yeah,
all right,
so, let us know what you think too. Like if you've got some cool resolutions related to Commander Night, how you play, how you interact. Let us know somehow in the comments or whatever. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely, we'd love to hear your own resolutions. Are there things that you resolved to do last year and you made it happen? Love to hear about those as well. So there it is. Remember to hit subscribe. Remember to give us a like and all that. 5-star review. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Big thanks to all our patrons who make these episodes possible.
Yeah, and if you want to check out more comedy videos, check out our Brews News playlist.
Make sure you follow us on Twitch TV to see when we play live.
If you want to chat with us, head over to Twitter. We're at Commanders Brew.
And please hit subscribe to ding the bell and find out when we got new stuff coming out.
See you next time.
Bye.